Breaking news, Sony did it. They pulled Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store. After a rather rocky start with a lot of bugs and issues, Sony has decided to pull the game from the PlayStation Store. And in today's video we're going to talk about what happened and what this means for all you Cyberpunks out there. So let's get right into today's video. News broke this morning that Cyberpunk was pulled from the PlayStation Store, and this is what the news site Reuters reported earlier today on the matter. Sony Corp said on Friday it's pulling CD Projekt SA's Cyberpunk 2077 from its PlayStation Store and offering full refunds after gamers complained that the flagship title was rife with bugs. The unusual move is the latest body blow for Poland's top video game maker, whose stock prices tumbled 30%. Amid fury from disappointed fans, as well as industry reviewers who complained that they were given limited access to the title ahead of its December 10th launch. The backlash against the repeatedly delayed game has led to hand-wringings over the hype that surrounds new titles, the complicity of reviewers in driving that hype, and the work environment for rank and file developers ahead of release dates. CD Projekt, in damage control and widely seen as risking squandering fan goodwill built up over many years, has promised to fix the bugs through updates. The firm did not respond to an email request for comment outside of regular Polish business hours. And this is insane, folks. The game just released a week ago, and now we can no longer buy the game in its digital form on the PlayStation Store. And something like this has never happened before. I know that they pulled Batman Arkham Knight off Steam because it had issues, but Sony has never pulled a game like this straight off the platform before. So what's going on then? Well, let's just go straight to the source, Sony themselves. And this is the statement that they put out on PlayStation.com this morning. Sony Interactive Entertainment strives to ensure a high level of customer satisfaction. Therefore, we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via PlayStation Store. Sony will also be removing Cyberpunk 2077 from PlayStation Store until further notice. Once we have confirmed that you purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via PlayStation Store, we'll begin processing your refund. Please note that the completion of the refund may vary based on your payment method and financial institution. And I think that this is solely based on how badly the game is performed on the PlayStation 4. I play on a PS Pro and I've noticed some bugs and issues, that's for sure. The game has even crashed a couple of times for me, but I don't know if it deserved to be completely pulled off the platform though. And it seems like the PS4 that has had the most issues with the games, which is understandable since the console is 7 years old by now. But the fact that CD Projekt Red tried to mask how badly the game was performing on old gen by simply not allowing streamers to show off old gen gameplay in their reviews is of course a huge concern. But in their defense, I think it's a good thing that they offer refunds for players who aren't satisfied with the performance of the game. But it is of course a huge deal when Sony don't even want to sell the game at the moment, so maybe it's the best for everyone that the game is taken down and CD Projekt Red is allowed to use the upcoming weeks or how long it will take to iron out the bugs and make the game playable on all consoles as it was intended to be. And this will of course lead to huge losses for CD Projekt Red that probably expected a ton of digital download sales before Christmas. And their stocks has been taking a deep plunge too, so that's a lot of cash out of the window for everyone involved, and an even bigger loss for those who bought the digital version of the PlayStation 5 and are now completely unable to buy the game, so F in the chat for that. But it is important to know that the game is still available in regular stores, so if you have a disc version of the PS5 you can still buy the game. And I think that the main issue here is that the game developers pushes out games way too early these days. A lot of AAA titles are launched with game-breaking bugs that the developers think they can iron out once the game is released with repeated updates. and often they can if they're a big gaming company with financial muscles. But the question is if the player base will still be around whenever that happens. And sometimes it seems more like the developers just puts out a game and then leaves and let the game die even if the player base wants more. And sure, there are several games that had a rocky start that managed to pull through, like No Man's Sky for example. It had a bumpy start, but the game developers ironed out the bugs and did a bunch of great updates that turned the opinion around for that game. And trust me, I really think that CDPR will be able to do the same with Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, even their last big title, The Witcher 3, had somewhat of a bumpy start, but it's now seen as one of the best games of the last generation. And I'm sure that we'll feel the same about Cyberpunk a year or 3 from now. But I do think that the negativity surrounding a game can be overwhelming, so much that it scares away the player base for good. Like what more or less happened to Red Dead Online for example, a game that I'm still covering here on the channel by the way. I actually checked how well it performed on Steam, just out of curiosity. And it had around 25,000 active players on Steam, which is far less than GTA Online for example with 112,000 concurrent players. So the launch and the updates really means everything for a new game. If the developers aren't ready to pull up their shirt sleeves and get to work, then the community won't be there supporting the game forever either. But I think it's important to say that I don't think that Cyberpunk is some sort of failure. I just hope that they learn what not to do from Rockstar Games and instead manages to pull through and deliver on the vision that they had for this game. And even though the game is riddled with bugs, it has been a complete success on Steam. It had over 1 million concurrent players on Steam for a while there, which makes it 40 times as popular as Red Dead Online is at the moment. And that will of course drop over time, but the hype for Cyberpunk 2077 is of course real, and at an all-time high at the moment. But I'm not sure that it was the right decision from Sony to pull the game from the PlayStation Store. Sure, there are people who want their cash back and let them have it, but pulling the game from the store makes it completely unavailable for a lot of PS5 players, which makes no sense since the game is playable even with the bugs and all. And I think it was a bad decision from Sony to pull the game just before Christmas. I'd rather be able to buy the game and then be disappointed by it than letting Sony decide if I can play the game or not. But on the other hand, they must have some sort of standards when it comes to games, so it was surely not an easy decision on their behalf. It's a sad thing overall, especially for all the owners of the digital edition of the PS5, who can't buy and enjoy the game at all over the holidays, unless Sony backtracks on that decision, which I don't expect them to do anytime soon. But I hope that this will be a lesson for future game developers. And after I heard about the news, I had to boot up the PS Store to check if the game was still available. But no, it's gone for an unforeseeable future. And I have no clue when it's coming back either. So, what do you guys think of these news? Are you sad that you won't be able to play the game during the holiday season? Or do you think that this was the right decision by Sony? And are you guys experiencing a lot of game-breaking bugs? Let me know down in the comments. And feel free to leave a like on this video and subscribe and hit that bell notification as well, so you won't miss out on future Cyberpunk uploads. And as always, you can find the links to all my social media accounts down in the description below. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.